Hey, I've got quite a problem. In our short growing season, the snow stays on the ground for a long time and the soil really takes a long time to warm up. And I need a low-cost solution to get my soil warmed up and get a space all prepped for growing things like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers, where we're actually able to get a good yield by the end of our short season. Hey, I'm Josh with Homesteading Family, and today I'm going to show you how to make a low-cost DIY hoop house for your property, any size you want, or at least any length you want, in order to help you get a little season extension, especially if you're in a cold environment. All right, so the first part of this hoop house we've already got in place, and this is what I'm calling the bean tunnel, and I've got a video on a DIY bean tunnel where you can check out how to make this system right here. And this is going to be the structure for our hoop house. So at the end of this video, make sure and go check out that one so that you can get to this point. And real quick, just so you know, this one is 60 plus feet long, about 66 feet long. You can make this anything you want size to your property as far as a bean tunnel and a hoop house. It can be as short as 4 feet all the way to 100 feet, whatever works for you. Okay, so after you've got your frame built, you're gonna need some good greenhouse or hoop house plastic like we've got right here on the ground. This is our second season for this one. What you wanna make sure though is that it is rated for greenhouse or hoop house. You don't wanna just go buy your basic 6 mil or 8 mil plastic from the hardware store. That is not gonna work. It's gonna fall apart on you. So you want something that's sturdy and that it's going to last you many years. So make sure you get that, this type of plastic that's made for a hoop house, i.e. greenhouse, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we've got to get this rolled out. This is a big one. This is a pretty good project just to get it over because of the size. And so we're going to go ahead and get this plastic rolled out. Connor, you want to help me out? Okay, so this, depending on what size you're doing, if it's a short one, this is gonna be pretty easy. On this one, it's gonna be kind of challenging, and I even feel the breeze coming up, so this might get a little interesting. All right, so for this length, this is gonna work a lot better. Connor's down there helping get it over. Good job, Connor. So I think at this point, Connor, you can probably go on the outside. 66 feet of plastic. It's a little bit to manage, okay? All right, now we want to try to get it even on the sides. It's supposed to hang over a little bit on the ground there. Okay, so we've got to get this just even because we've got it cut just to the length that we're going to be able to clip it on. So Connor, you want to go down and make sure the other side, the length is good? Look at this, we're 80% there already. That was the hard part. How are we doing on length down there? Good. Okay, all right. So we've got two things to do. We've got to put the ends on this, which is gonna hold this together, and then we've got to weigh down the sides. So I'm gonna start with the ends. Okay, so, you know, we bought this long enough to cut out a couple doors. These are really basic, really simple. I went as inexpensive as I could. And then we've got these clips. Now, I got these at the local hardware store. You can look, you know, at your hardware store. There's all kinds of different tarp clips is all this is. And there's a bunch of different styles. Just check your hardware store, local hardware store. If you can't find it there, you'll be able to find something on Amazon. And these are just gonna help hold the plastic on to the frame here. Okay. Connor, will you come over and hold this side? We want to try to get this hanging, this side over here fairly evenly. And we'll put a couple to get it in place. We just want everything lined up here. And we want to try to get our seam lined up. Okay. And these just ratchet down and hold everything together. So we're temporarying this up, and we're gonna go ahead and get this clipped up, and we'll show you more of the process on the next side. All right, so we've just about got the second door up, and you know, this is the really low cost budget way, just getting some extra plastic, cutting it, and letting it hang. Now, it doesn't seal off quite as well like this. It seals it off pretty good, and I'll bet you there's at least 10 degrees difference, and we just barely got this sealed off. It's gonna be 20 degrees or more in a few minutes. But if you wanted to take it a step further and actually make an enclosed greenhouse, and you could build a frame here and build a door to walk in and out of, that would give you an extra layer kind of protection and helping to keep that solar gain inside if you wanted to go to that length. All right, okay, real quick before I walk away from the doors, we did need a little weight on this plastic, and this is just some hoop house framing. I don't even know what these things are called, but they've got a little wire in there that we tuck the plastic into. This is made to hold plastic to a hoop house, but they work great just for a little bit of weight to hold these doors into place, and very low cost. Okay, so we've got the main body of the plastic on, we've got our door ends on. Now we need to deal with these long sides, and there's two ways you could go about this. One, you could just tack this to the wood frame if you wanted to leave it closed all season. But even in our environment here, it warms up enough in the summer that we need to be able to give this thing some ventilation, especially for those tomatoes. They don't want to get too humid in there because they're always susceptible to fungus problems. So we need to be able to ventilate this. And in trying to figure this out and what was the best way to do this, since this isn't a, you know, technical hoop house that's got bars that you can roll up and all that fancy stuff, we needed something that was flexible. And what I came up with is water hose. Last year, I just put an empty hose in here and rolled it up in the plastic, and that worked pretty well, but it wasn't really heavy enough when the wind came up, and it was still blowing things around. So this year, we're taking some newer hose. You can certainly recycle hose if you've got it, and that's great. But all my other hose is heavy duty. I wanted something that wasn't real expensive. I bought just a very lightweight hose, but I can fill this up with water once things start to warm up a little bit, and it's gonna give us not only flexibility, but a little bit of weight. That way, when we want this down, it'll hold the plastic down, but the hose will be flexible if we wanna lift it up and create some ventilation. And I'll show you how that part works after we get this set up. For now, we've got to get the hose set up and attached to the plastic. Okay, so what I did last year was to roll the hose up, and I used some of the greenhouse tape to hold this all together. And you know, this stuff is made for fixing holes in the greenhouse plastic. It did okay. It didn't hold up real well. The stuff gets dirty, it gets wet. And so this year we're gonna try some Gorilla Tape and see how it holds up. Okay, so we've got our hose in on this side, and you can see we've got a little extra hose because I just had to buy it to length. This Gorilla Tape seems to be holding pretty good. We'll see how it works, but I think it's gonna be a lot better than the greenhouse tape. And we put it on about every 4 feet, and that should work pretty well. Okay, we need to trim this hose down. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. And I've just got the end of a hose here to deal with this, and a cap. Because remember, later we're gonna fill this up with water. I don't wanna do it now just because of the freezing. And you may, no, we're warm enough here, we're soft enough. Okay, I didn't have to heat this up. Sometimes if it's really cold, you've gotta heat your hose up with a lighter or a little butane torch. And then we just wanna clamp this on. Now, this is not gonna have high pressure in it. It does not have to be anything fancy. We're just trying to hold a little water in here to give the hose some weight and help hold everything down. So that'll be good. And that is ready to go once we put water in it. On to the other side. So the really cool part about this is the hose is holding it down, but the hose has also got flexibility. So when we want to come and vent it, we can pull it up, and I've got some clips right here to just hang this in. We can do this all along the greenhouse. And we've got some venting in the summertime. I won't have to do this for several months. And all these clips are right here are just T-post clips that I've hung off of these panels, and this is gonna hold it up. So that's how you're gonna vent this. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and leave it down. All right, you guys, it is already at least 10 to 15 degrees warmer in here. That snow is gonna melt now in the next day or so. Things are gonna start heating up. Don't forget to go and check out the DIY bean tunnel video to get the first part on how to do this, and you're good to go.